The rose in my hand fell to the floor. My fiancée, Emily, lay on the bed in her wedding dress with another man. Our wedding was supposed to be tomorrow. I forced a bitter smile. Do you realize this is our wedding suite? Emily shrugged carelessly. If we're chasing thrills, we might as well go all the way. What can you do about it anyway? You're just the lapdog my father kept. Would you dare divorce me? I shook my head and turned to leave. Worthless trash. She sneered as I closed the door. Moans immediately resumed behind me. For years, I'd climbed the corporate ladder under her father's patronage. Emily thought she had me collared. What she didn't know was that her father Michael had developed dementia 6 months ago. I'd quietly seized control of the Johnson Group. One word from me could bankrupt her family tonight. I made 2 calls. The first canceled tomorrow's wedding. The second instructed my secretary to inform all shareholders I'd cease protecting the Johnson interests effective immediately. The shareholders acted swiftly. By the time I reached the parking lot, Emily's personal driver rushed over, bowing deeply before driving off in the Porsche that once symbolized her status. Both car and driver had been gifts from sycophants, now as worthless as Emily herself. Upstairs, my ex-fiancée remained oblivious that she could no longer afford subway fares, let alone luxury cars. Even this 300-square-meter riverside apartment had been a developer's wedding gift to curry favor with me. As I settled into my car, property managers swarmed upstairs. Soon, security dragged out a disheveled Emily screaming, "Don't touch me. Do you know who my father is?" Her father? The man I'd reduced to a senile figurehead. Spotting me, Emily broke free and pounded my window. "Ethan, what tricks are you playing? I'll tell my father to ruin you." She still didn't comprehend whose ruin was imminent. The man beside her pleaded, "Ethan, we wronged you, but you can't make Emily homeless. Even crows care for their parents. Remember how Mr. Johnson mentored you." I recognized Ryan, Emily's high school sweetheart and eternal crush. She'd loved him for years. I'd always known she lost her virginity to him before his overseas studies, that she'd aborted his child while weeping over lost love. Once, I served the Johnsons faithfully. Now, I claimed their empire. "Drive," I told my chauffeur. As the car pulled away, Emily hammered the window, shrieking, "Ethan, at tomorrow's shareholder meeting, I'll purge this ungrateful wretch from our family." Ungrateful wretch? I smiled. The world thought Michael had elevated me. They forgot how he built his fortune through smuggling and tax evasion, crimes my loyal father David took the fall for. Perhaps out of guilt, Michael made me his godson. On my first day at the Johnson estate, 12-year-old Emily declared, "They say your dad was my father's dog. From today, you're my dog." Michael had laughed it off as childish humor. From that moment, I existed for the Johnsons. In school, Emily called me puppy before classmates, forcing me to carry her bags and do her homework. Any resistance provoked her shrill reminders, "You fatherless bastard. My dad feeds you. Show gratitude." Even New Year clothes became her bragging rights. "Daddy bought these. Daddy gives his allowance." I grew into the perfect guard dog. At Johnson Group, I eliminated every threat to Emily's eventual succession. I built her throne, waiting as she partied through her 20s. Her negligence allowed me to claim everything. The next morning, Emily stormed into my office with Ryan. "How dare you cancel our wedding?" I glanced up calmly. "What do you want? Where's my father?" "My cards are frozen. Ryan had to pay our cab fare," I casually remarked. "Chairman Michael is negotiating business in another province. In reality, there's no way he's conducting business. He's even forgotten his own identity, having been relocated by me to a nursing home overseas long ago." Emily stared into my eyes, then suddenly laughed in bitter anger. "I plan to oust you at tomorrow's shareholder meeting, but I can't stand your pretentious face any longer. Get out of that chair. You don't deserve to sit there." She slammed a document on the desk. I picked up the personnel appointment letter. It stated, Mr. Ryan is hereby appointed as executive assistant to the general manager, effective immediately upon his return to the country. The signature belonged to Michael, dated precisely 6 months prior. Starting directly as executive assistant, this was clearly targeting my position, expecting me to train my own replacement. As expected, the Johnsons only ever saw me as their lapdog. Emily sneered. That suit of yours, you'll only wear it for 3 more months. This chair belongs to Ryan now. Ryan feigned humility. My apologies. Ethan, Emily said the company needed help. I didn't expect it to be like this. I nodded and extended my hand. Welcome aboard. As we shook hands, his face brimmed with triumphant satisfaction. I withdrew my hand. However, entering the office with your left foot first violates company image standards. Report to HR for termination procedures. Ryan's smile froze. Emily's eyes widened. How dare you fire Ryan? Leaning back in my chair, I calmly flipped through documents. I'm dismissing my assistant. Any objections? Still maintaining his facade, Ryan pleaded. Ethan, shut it. You don't get to call me that. I snapped. Yes, Ethan, be angry with me if you must. But this is Michael's appointment. Fire me now, and tomorrow's shareholder meeting will be uncomfortable for you. Will it? I activated my phone's front camera, studying my reflection seriously. I think I look rather dashing. My jawline and eye bags are particularly charming. They gaped in stunned silence. Emily violently swept documents off my desk, shrieking, Ethan, you think you're actually the Johnson Group's general manager? Let me enlighten you. Our marriage was just Dad's strategy to control your elite team. Now that the company's stable, we don't need you anymore. I nodded. I've always known. She continued viciously. You'll be penniless soon. Why do you think I made you sign that prenup? Everything stays separate, marriage or divorce. Enjoy eating instant noodles in the gutter. I chuckled. Thank God for prenuptial agreements. How dare you laugh? Emily's rage intensified, but I stood adjusting my tie. Excuse me. I have meetings to attend. Ryan sighed. Ethan, I understand this is difficult. I'll return tomorrow. Rest assured, when I become GM in 3 months, I'll keep you as my assistant. Ignoring him, I left while calling my secretary. Status update? Sir, the Johnsons will cease to exist after tomorrow. Your car arrangement for the morning? To the prison. Someone's being released. At the penitentiary gates, I reviewed corporate plans in the Maybach. The gates creaked open, revealing David, my father, carrying a worn bag. My secretary rushed to take his luggage as he approached, gingerly touching the car door. The Johnsons treat you well, giving you such luxury. Get in, I said flatly. He nervously wiped his pants before sitting. Don't want a dirty Mr. Johnson's car. They've raised you well. Son. Raised me? I scoffed. Remember middle school? Emily made me drink her foot wash to show off to friends. When I refused, she slapped me publicly. Her father called it a joke. That's your idea of being raised? I studied relentlessly for top universities. They forced me into third-tier colleges to be Emily's servant. While cleaning her dorm, she was busy pampering Ryan in hotels. After her abortion, she still ordered me around like a dog. That's being raised? I'll never forget the foot wash taste. Or a man's humiliation. David's smile faded. Don't be ungrateful. Look at your fine suit. All thanks to the Johnsons. I remained silent. Our paths diverged. There was no need for forced cooperation. David had loyally served the Johnson family for decades, content to gnaw whatever bones they threw his way. But I was different. After enduring countless hardships and humiliations, I refused to let anyone trample over me again. Today, I brought him here to witness the Johnson Empire's downfall with his own eyes, to watch me claim my rightful place at the pinnacle. As our car pulled up to Johnson Group's headquarters, Emily and Ryan were already waiting at the entrance. The moment David spotted Emily, he scurried over with servile eagerness. "Emily, you've grown into such a fine young lady," he fawned. Emily eyed him with distaste. "Do I know you?" "Old man, I'm David. Mr. Johnson showed me your photos during his visit 5 years ago. I recognized you immediately." Her lips curled in a cold smile. "David, what an exemplary father you've been." Oblivious to her sarcasm, David groveled. "We owe everything to the Johnsons' generosity." Emily shot me a haughty glance before ordering David. "I'm thirsty. Fetch me water." Right away. The aging man hurried off like an obedient hound. Emily smirked at me. "See, your father makes a better servant than you ever could." I waited patiently at the entrance. David returned panting, clutching a water bottle. Emily took it and let it clatter to the ground. "I wanted it chilled. Let me get you another." "Don't bother." She strode past us into the building, throwing me a challenging look. David wrung his hands nervously. "She's being difficult today. Maybe you should buy her drinks later." "Let's proceed to the meeting," I said evenly. "You may observe." The boardroom held 12 grim-faced shareholders. The chairman's seat stood conspicuously empty. Emily blew a gum bubble from her plush leather chair. "Where's Dad?" I activated the microphone. "This marks our third quarterly meeting. Since MS. Johnson missed the previous two. I'll recap." She interrupted with a dismissive wave. "First quarter, I was visiting Ryan abroad. Second quarter, he came home on leave." Shareholders exchanged dark looks as her cavalier tone laid bare her negligence. "First quarter, we partnered with 85 influencers during New Year promotions, generating $40 million profit. Second quarter, we developed in-house talent, slashed marketing costs, and achieved $70 million profit while preparing for mid-year sales." Emily cut me off. "Enough boasting. Ryan could have done better blindfolded." Across the room, David's face drained of color. Ryan smiled magnanimously. "You've paved the way nicely. Ethan, when I take over, we'll dominate Black Friday sales." My gaze hardened. Indeed, I'd built this empire through blood and sweat, only to be treated like the Johnsons' lapdog. Emily cooed. "Don't thank him, Ryan. You'll inherit perfect conditions to succeed." "Sweetheart," Ryan purred, "I'll stand by you through prosperity and adversity alike. Then you'll appreciate third quarter results." I interjected. "For $100 million losses. Half our warehouses face lease termination. 5 banks demand immediate loan repayment. The chairman fled overseas. Today's agenda, dissolution." Emily's smirk died mid-bubble. "What? Congratulations on attending today. MS. Johnson, your father's creditors are outside. They demand for $1 million or 20 fingers at $100,000 each." How fortunate Ryan vowed to share your burdens. She trembled violently, clutching my sleeve. "This can't be. We were profitable." "Explain." I smiled. "I worked diligently as always. But you're right, I'm incompetent. Let Ryan fix this. It's just business." Leaning closer, I whispered, "Remember when we shifted to in-house talent during the second quarter? That's when I noticed your father's dementia setting in. I founded a new company and partnered with the Johnson Group for business collaboration. I told Michael Johnson that this was an enterprise prepared for Emily Johnson. Michael, being selfish and greedy, eagerly diverted shareholders' funds into his own pockets under the guise of partnership. Meanwhile, Emily remained preoccupied with leisure, carelessly signing every company document placed before her to collect payments without review. She had already legally transferred her corporate authority to me. During Michael's final lucid period, he still delusionally believed he was securing his daughter's future while plotting to remove me. By the second quarter, while appearing diligent, I secretly signed a host of flashy young TikTokers known for cringeworthy dance moves to represent our luxury brand. These legally illiterate influencers received contracts guaranteeing them minimal profit shares. Come the third quarter, Michael had fully deteriorated mentally. Through my orchestration, the Johnson Group poured massive marketing funds into our new company with zero returns, simultaneously expanding production until drowning in debt. Logically, other shareholders should have exposed my schemes, but they aligned with me. True success requires sharing benefits. Years of witnessing the Johnsons' incompetence and greed, compounded by Michael's recent embezzlement, solidified their allegiance. Our company thrived through the united support of all 11 shareholders except Emily herself. Desperate, Emily turned to Ryan Brown, frantically flipping through my documents. Ryan reassured her, "Don't panic, Emily. Our warehouses remain stocked, and your family's decades, old production lines and client lists are invaluable assets. Liquidating these could not only clear debts, but make you millions." I nodded. Correct. In fact, a company will propose acquiring these assets today. Emily snapped at me. Useless mutt. Prepare tea immediately to welcome the visiting executives. I brewed the tea and placed it at the chairman's seat before calmly sipping from the cup myself. What are you doing? Emily stared incredulously. Now, I said, let's discuss acquiring your family's assets. Her initial shock hardened into venomous understanding. So you've become some new master's lapdog? Disgusting how low you'll grovel. She sneered. What's your owner offering? After evaluating depreciated equipment and out of season inventory, we propose $40 million. Emily slammed the table. Are you insane? We're not selling. Ryan clasped her hand, glaring at me. We'll rebuild the Johnson's empire. You'll regret every humiliation. This isn't your decision, I stated coldly. Per corporate bylaws, major asset sales require 2/3 shareholder approval. Emily scoffed. Who'd agree to this robbery? All in favor. Raise your hands. Every shareholder lifted their arm. Emily paled as Ryan staggered, clutching a chair for support. The Johnson century-old empire had officially fallen. At this very moment, the vote stood at 11-1. I smiled and said, approved. Sign the contract. Are you all insane? Selling a $240 million asset for $40 million. Emily finally lost her composure, throwing a tantrum in the boardroom like a fishwife. Of course the shareholders agreed. The new company was our creation, with every one of them having placed trusted associates or relatives in key positions. Acquiring Johnson Group simply meant moving money between pockets, albeit with unnecessary tax penalties. This was merely our latest move in dismantling the Johnson empire, repaying decades of their mistreatment. You treacherous snakes. Ungrateful wretches. Emily shrieked. My father holds the largest stake. He has veto power. Though obtuse, Ryan had begun grasping the situation. Sweating profusely, he stopped supporting Emily's outbursts. Your father fled the country. I countered. Multiple institutions have blacklisted him as a credit risk. Do you really think he'll return for a vote? Shareholders have authority to liquidate assets to mitigate losses. I can vote as his proxy. Our combined shares outweigh anyone else's. Do you have power of attorney? Your father's disappearance doesn't transfer ownership. Unless. I let the implication hang. Emily paled as the boardroom doors crashed open. Burly men with neck tattoos filed in, street creditors Michael had privately borrowed from during his desperate endgame. Miss Johnson, I said pleasantly, today's payout should cover your bank debts. But these gentlemen's $4 million? That might prove challenging. A tattooed man chuckled darkly. She'll pay. We've got ways to make $4 million appear. Oh, I feigned curiosity. The kind of methods that let one person work multiple continents simultaneously? Last resort. He growled. Emily turned to Ryan. What's that mean? How can someone? Ryan trembled violently. Let's just pay them first. We'll stall the banks until your father. I slid the prepared contract across the table. Emily's hands shook as she read it, then jerked her head up. The contracting party, Ethan? Allow me to reintroduce myself. I smiled. As of today, I own Johnson Group. And you? My gaze hardened. Are my lapdog? From the corner, David stared dumbstruck. Emily collapsed to her knees, clutching my sleeve. Mr. Smith, I was wrong. Please, for my family raising you. You dare mention debts of upbringing? I kicked her hand away. After years of treating me like gutter trash? After fucking this man in our bridal suite 2 days ago? Ryan swallowed hard. Sign it. Emily. We'll take the money and disappear. You'll still live luxuriously abroad. I laughed aloud. Even now? Ryan coveted her remaining funds. As shareholders finalized signatures, I called my secretary. Wire the payments. Emily exhaled, addressing the creditors. Gentlemen, I'll transfer your $4 million immediately. I have access to my father's. Ryan hugged her shoulders, glaring at me. We'll repay this humiliation 100-fold. Emily regained her venom. Ethan, you heartless cur. Ryan's 10 times the man you'll ever be. We'll rebuild overseas and destroy you. I snapped my fingers. Oh dear. How careless of me. Your father's account? The bank froze it 3 months ago for non-payment. But don't worry, the moment funds hit, creditors will seize everything. My smile widened. Your bank debts are settled. At least. Emily staggered. The lead creditor cracked his knuckles. So our $4 million's gone. And Miss Johnson? She opened and closed her mouth like a suffocating fish. As Ethan watched Ryan turn to leave now that Emily's downfall was complete, Emily desperately grabbed his arm. Ryan, where are you going? If you're going down, don't drag me with you. She pleaded. Ryan shook her off violently. We're done. From today onward, we have nothing to do with each other. You swore we'd face everything together. Emily cried. This isn't hardship. This is life or death. Even married couples scatter when disaster strikes. Let alone us. Ryan snapped. Emily collapsed to the floor like a puppet with cut strings. Ethan chuckled. Ryan, you're not going anywhere either. Ryan froze, then sneered. Ethan, don't try to intimidate me. Let's be blunt. So what if I slept with your wife? I'm not your employee and owe you nothing. I come and go as I please. Studying Ryan's arrogant face, Ethan smiled. True, I have no quarrel with you. But considering Emily was once my fiancée, there are some accounts I could settle on her behalf. What accounts? Ryan demanded. That Porsche she gave you 3 years ago? Still worth $1 million secondhand. That watch you're wearing? Clearly her gift. You could never afford it yourself. Even this Armani suit. A scholarship student wearing bespoke tailoring? Ethan counted off. Emily's eyes suddenly blazed with hope. She seized Ryan's hand. He's right. Give back everything. The cars. The watches. All the money I transferred. Gifts aren't meant to be returned. Ryan roared. After all I sacrificed for you? After loving you all these years? You'd rather watch me die than let me keep these things? Emily sprang up, clawing at his face. Give it all back. You bastard. The once loving couple became snarling animals. Anyone walking into this boardroom would think they'd stumbled into a bar brawl. From the chairman's seat, Ethan watched the spectacle with amusement. Ryan pummeled Emily's face mercilessly, but bloodied and bruised. She clung to him like a drowning woman. When outmatched, Emily turned to the tattooed enforcers. Help me sue him. I'll repay you with whatever I recover. After consideration, the thugs hoisted Ryan by his collar like a misbehaving kitten. Legal recovery suited them fine. Ryan spat in Emily's face. All these years together, and now you take everything back? I wasted my life on you. You think you're the victim? Emily shrieked. I had your abortions. I wanted to give you my family business. You were the wolf in sheep's clothing all along. Ethan observed curiously. Not once did she use that cooing Ryan anymore. Ultimately, Emily settled her debts. The court ordered Ryan to return assets worth $2 million, but the cash transfers totaling $2,800,000 had been squandered on his sugar mommy lifestyle. In the end, Emily sold the $2,600,000 debt to the enforcers for $600,000 profit. They'd collect their way. With the Johnson Group's production lines, clientele, and inventory secured, Ethan immediately launched rebranding. Ditching the flashy influencers, he partnered with content creators suited for affordable luxury. Their existing business plans combined with Johnson's resources soon stabilized the new company. Old Mr. Johnson died overseas. Forgotten. Months later, Ethan's chauffeur-driven car passed a streetwalker. The garish makeup couldn't hide her decaying skin as she chained, smoked, and tacky clothes. Ethan had the car stop. Hop in. He beckoned. Thanks. Sugar, Emily began automatically, then froze upon recognizing him. The stench of cheap cosmetics filled the car as her mouth hung open. Why are you alone? Where's Ryan? I don't know. She shook her head. We haven't seen each other since the court ruling. This job suits you well. She gripped her skirt's hem, forcing a trembling smile. The woman before me gradually overlapped with the childhood friend in my memories. Emily whispered, Ethan, I'm barely surviving. This is all my fault. I'll kneel and beg if it pleases you. Please, could you take me in? I leaned back. Remember that spring semester when I wore new clothes? You forced me to crawl like a horse before the whole class until the fabric tore. Tears streamed down her face. Ethan, I'm sorry that night. Your mother stitched my clothes back together with her own hands. You and your father share the same cruelty. He abandoned your mom after building his fortune. Yet when she lay dying from heartbreak, begging to see you one last time, you chose your wealthy father instead. Emily kept her head lowered. I sighed. She was the only warmth I ever found in the Johnson family. Had you both not betrayed her, I'd have spared your family out of gratitude. But debts and grievances must balance. Report to headquarters tomorrow. I'll give you a position with $10,000 monthly salary. Her flesh and blood won't starve on my watch. What position? Emily's eyes widened. The next morning, my Maybach collected an important client. As we entered the corporate lobby, Emily stood draped in a welcome banner by the entrance. She bowed deeply. Good morning, Ethan. The client frowned. That girl, have we met before? I chuckled, watching Emily's hunched figure. Just some stray mutt. Hardly worth remembering.